Country boy. I get up before the rooster, put on my camo, load up my bow and my rifle and stock the ammo. I'm a bullet with the bullet, but I'm lethal with the arrow. Always down for the hunt, dove turkey and big bucks. Hit the woods and get fitted up. Mossy oak all across my fit, don't be surprised we do this too. I be up before the sun with my 30 at 6. Hard body on, I ain't worried about the kick. Yeah, we do this too.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of We Do This Too Outdoors podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Williamson. I've got a special guest today here, Mr. Joe Jones. He has a big social media following on YouTube and all social medias. It's called The Outdoors in Color. So how you doing, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. So like I said, I found you through a buddy of mine, man. He's like, man, I've got to get you on, and started looking at all your videos on YouTube and everything and all your social medias, and I was like, this dude's for real. So I'm blessed and honored for you to be on this podcast with me and everything. So thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man. I love being on podcasts and talking about hunting and fishing.
That's right, man. So how did you first get introduced into the outdoors?
My dad got us into hunting. I think growing up for him, he wasn't really into deer hunting. I think my grandpa probably had shotgun 22s, and so he was just small game hunting, rabbits, squirrels, country living, just shooting at anything that moves probably. And he didn't start getting to deer hunt until after, I think, the military. I think how he got us into it is, like my uncle that's deceased now, his brother-in-law got him into dove hunting, and that's how we really kind of latched on to hunting every year, September, which is actually coming up this Labor Day Monday. My uncle introduced my dad and my older brothers to dove hunting, and then I got to kind of tag along as I got older. It's been an obsession ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big dove hunter. I cannot wait until Sunday. Opening day of.
You can hunt on Sunday?
I hunt on Sunday. I'm one of those.
That's cool.
One of those guys from the South. If you want to call Kentucky the South, that will hunt on Sunday. I know it's not, correct for a lot of, the older folks. They don't agree with it, but I do. So
that's Lord also you're allowed to.
Right. The Lord knows my heart, and He knows
God's church outside.
That's right. He knows I'd rather be outside thinking about church than in church thinking about hunting. So,
yeah.
But yeah,
we can praise Him outside.
That's right. That's when I do most of my godly stuff. I go to church and everything. I'm a very godly man, but when I'm outside, in the elements, just looking at everything that He made and the rivers and just listening to the trees and the creeks and the birds, just hearing everything wake up in the morning, man. That's when I do a lot of my best thinking. That's when me and the Lord kind of start, we have some pretty deep conversations out there. So
yeah, man, there's nothing like waking up and seeing God's creation wake up. That's something special to me.
It's very special, man. It's very, very special. So I see that you're sponsored by a few brands out there in the outdoor industry. As an African-American male, I know for me growing up, I didn't see a lot of us on TV, and not a lot of us were sponsored or given the notoriety like we should have been or whatever. How did you go about breaking down some of those doors to get in with some of these big name companies?
I think the biggest thing for me is being consistent on, social media platforms and then making connections. I haven't made connections like I'd want to. A lot of people go to, your ATA shows, your like in North Carolina, we have the Deer Dixie Classic. Just making connection with brands, but on social media, is tagging them using the product. Not just using the product, but I don't just use product to use it. I'll use it because I believe in it or it's a useful tool. So, really, it's just really a journey of connecting with them. But having a standing ground of I do believe in your product, and then starting out with like reaching out to them. Creating. Typically, a lot of it starts with a brand ambassador program and just getting your way in the door there. It's been a blessing to kind of just creep into the outdoor community, slowly but surely, getting some representation there.
That's right. Yeah. When I started my brand, I had a lot of guys at work and they're like, "Hey man, you need to reach out to this person. You need to reach out to them. You need to reach out to this." Me personally, I'm new into this. And even if I do get big, if I do ever blow up, which is not the goal, but if it ever happens, I'm not just going to partner with somebody just to partner with them. I have to believe in your product, I have to believe in what your company stands for and the direction that you're going in. I'm not just going to, represent you simply for you to sell stuff. I've got to believe in
Yeah.
what you're doing. And I believe for you, some of these partners that you've partnered with, I really believe that you really, feel and believe everything that they're doing, or you wouldn't be a part of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what brands are you working with right now? If you don't care to.
So I would call in more, partnerships for content. I'm a brand ambassador for Free Fly, which is big into fly fishing clothing. A lot of SPF hoodies, hats, and then with Bahio sunglasses, they have phenomenal sunglasses. They also sell clothing gear as well. Partnering up with Prime as well, doing a lot of content for them. My kids just got their NXT youth bows, and they've been loving those. Those bows are something they can start with as a kid. My youngest son is 6, so he's able to draw back that bow, and that bow is set for you to use it as a young person. Then all the way up to you can hunt with it. And aiming for my son, not really making the goal for him, but he wants to be able to shoot a deer with his bow next year. So he's going to be working on that. So just doing content for Prime and then showcasing what their bows offer for the youth side. And of course, I'm going to be shooting that Prime RVX this season. Next weekend
That's
is when it
awesome.
opens up. I can't wait.
Yep, it opens up on the 7th here too. So yeah, it's probably gonna be a little bit too hot for me to go out there, and them snakes are still out there. But I will, just depending.
Gotta
I don't
sweat it
know yet.
out.
I don't mind sweating it
Yeah,
out,
it's
man. But like I hunt in a blind. I don't hunt in the air,
yeah,
and I don't. Yeah, you know how hot it can get in them blinds sometime. And then
yeah.
me, I hate snakes. And
I feel you. I don't like
the
them either.
farm, yeah, the farm that I hunt on, man, it's pretty notorious this time of year for snakes. But I got to get out there, and, I guess just grind it out, man. Because I mean, deer hunting is my biggest passion, next to duck hunting. So I guess I'm just going to have to get out there and just grind it out, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. So, can you share a couple of your memorable hunting experiences with us? I know a lot of people um, have told me lately that they enjoyed hearing some of the people's stories on here that, of past hunts and hunts they've had, and just going back and sharing those stories and everything. So, if you could, man, just share one of your most memorable hunting experiences with us.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I've got a lot. Most recently, this past season, I harvested my first black bear. It was an incredible experience. Got to hunt with a good buddy, Trevor. We found each other online on Facebook through a trout fishing page and just connected on trout fishing. And we had kids of similar age, and we had planned to go fishing together. And then I saw that he had hounds and he hunted bears, and that was a goal of mine, just to hunt a bear. And I really wanted to try the meat. So we connected, and I went and was it 2022, um, and had a first hunt. Never met him personally, just on Facebook, and we met for the first time, went on a bear hunt, and I was just enamored with, the tradition of hound hunting, how it worked. And then we didn't see anything that day. I only got to hunt one day because I work in retail, so I had to get back home. And then this past year, I was able to hunt with him again, and the hunt was incredible. At first light, they dropped he pretty much dropped me off. And we were at a game lands that's notorious for don't want to spot burn. So a game lands out eastern North Carolina. Eastern North Carolina that has gators in there, and they're actually known for a really big bear. And eastern part of North Carolina has the largest bear, I think, largest population of black bears in the country. They're really huge. I think the biggest one is around 800 pounds,
Wow.
which is a pretty big black bear. So I meet up him at this game lands, and it's pretty much swamps on each side, and then you have your tracks that go about a mile or two into the swamp. So like a dirt road, but you can't drive on them on the game land. So he just kind of told me the game plan. He's going to drop the dogs, and he just told me to walk the lane for about a mile and just walk it slow and listen to the dogs. And I had a walkie, so I started walking. It was pitch black. That was a little concerning, but woke up to the woods and the dogs barking as soon as they let him out. I could hear the dogs kind of in the general vicinity, like kind of even with me, parallel with me. I was walking down this track, and they were in the swamp, and I could have sworn they were, kind of circling something for a while. They were barking for about 2 or 3 minutes where they weren't moving, because I can kind of walk with them until they were kind of ahead of me, or I was ahead of them. So I radioed, hey, I think the dogs are onto something. And Trevor just walked his back. Yeah, they're on a hot track. So right when I said that and walking is actually where a bear came out. So I kept walking, and about 10 minutes later, I see Trevor. I turn around and I see Trevor in his truck, and he is. I could see the gate where I had parked. So it was I would probably say a half a mile that I could see back to the gate where he stopped his truck. So I was kind of like, why is he stopping his truck? So I look at him and then look back down my path, and then I look back again, and there is a giant bear halfway between me and him. I had a shotgun for close range, so with buckshot, and then I had a 243 with a Leopold scope on there. So couldn't shoot because Trevor was right. The bear was right between both of us, so we waited till it kind of crossed at the end. And I shot, and apparently he shot at the same time, but we both missed. I think my shot was probably 300 yards, so I didn't estimate it very well or gauge it very well. So that bear scoots on, and then the dogs are right on its track, and then it goes across another track where the other hunters are. They shoot at it, miss it, and then Trevor waiters me to run. So I'm sprinting down this track, get in the truck, follow him for about a quarter of a mile. And he's like, man, this is it. They're on him. So we're getting into the woods. And the woods in East North Carolina is mostly pines. And this, I don't know what kind of grass it is, but it is pretty much looks like bamboo, but it's very thin, and it's about 10 feet high.
Oh,
so
wow.
We're about 50 yards. Yeah, it's close quarters when you're in the swamp. So we're about 50 yards in, and I stopped him and I said, what's going to happen? Is it going to be bayed? Is it going to be in a tree? So there's two ways your hounds are going to typically bay this bear, or whatever they're after, especially bear. They're either going to climb up a tree, and they'll be on a tree the size of they'll be on a pine tree this round, and they'll be swaying. I've seen videos and how he's talked about it. But he said this bear isn't in a tree; it's on the ground. So then my heart just started racing. I was like, I'm about to shoot a bear face to face on the ground. So my heart was racing, and we just beeline to where the dogs were barking. So it was about a 500-yard walk in the thickest crap you can imagine it, and you could probably only see 6 to 7 feet in front of you. So I was right on Trevor's back going through here, and he was about 7 or 8 feet in front of me. He's like, there's the bear, and I couldn't really see it. So he shoots it, and then I come up in there, and it's literally clawing at the dogs. So I think it's 5 yards away. I ended up taking the bear. It was an incredible experience and intense. So that's probably one of my most memorable recent memories. And then probably just growing up hunting with my dad and my brothers is dove hunting. That is a pastime, a tradition that we've always gone almost every year. All my brothers have 3 brothers and 1 sister, but my 3 brothers still, we still all go hunting together. So waking up early in the morning, driving to the dove fields. As a kid, I didn't, my dad didn't let me use a gun until I was about 8 or 9. So like 5 years old, I was out there chasing the birds, being the retriever. So that's probably one of my favorite memories is going hunting with pops and the brothers.
I get that. Yeah, I lost my dad in 14, so that was my hunting buddy. That was my Superman, and I can remember, 5 years old, getting out there with him with one of those little Red Ryder BB guns, following him and the
Yeah.
dogs. My dad was a big rabbit hunter, getting out there, retrieving his down rabbits and just being out there. And I'd give anything to have those days back. But I've got plenty of memories, and I've got a really funny story with him, man. Like, so it was me, him, and my uncle Kenny. We were hunting one morning, and I was probably about 15 or 16. It's middle of December. No, it's middle of November. It's November. It's right after Thanksgiving, and it's like 90 degrees. It's hot,
Wow.
Yeah. And Dad's like, well, it's a tradition. We go hunting together. We hadn't gone this year because it's been too hot. I said, well, if you want to go, Dad, let's go. So we go up there and get the dogs from Uncle Kenny because he's the one that had the dogs. He said, well, I think I'll go with y'all. I said, well, come on. I'm on one side of the creek with my Uncle Kenny, and my dad's on the other side of the creek with the dogs. And I hear my dad shoot. And I'm like, Dad, you get him? And all of a sudden I hear him shoot 2 more times. I'm like, Dad, what's going on over there? He said, it's a damn snake over here. I'm going to the house. It's too damn hot to hunt. And all of a sudden I see Dad beelining it towards the house, and I'm just like, Dad, you're done? He said, yeah. He said, I just seen a snake. It's November. It's too damn hot to hunt. I'm going to the house. So I followed him because like I said, I don't do snakes. Neither does my uncle. So we'd probably been
Pop
out there
said nope.
maybe 20 minutes and it was over. So
Wow.
that was a pretty funny experience I had with my dad. So yeah, man. So
go.
yeah, he had to go, man. So yeah, man. A lot of newbies, I would say, hunters, outdoorsmen, people that haven't been in this thing as long as us, they're always asking for advice. They're always asking for, advice on this, advice on, gear, advice on what shotgun to use, advice on, what types of shells to use, what boots to get. Like for a newbie hunter, man, let's just say they want to go deer hunting for the first time this year. They never been. What's some advice and stuff that you can give a newbie hunter that's just getting into this thing?
That's a lot. Keep it simple. I think there's so much out there, so many gadgets that could take away from the experience. Obviously, there's a lot of important stuff, but keeping it simple. I think the biggest thing is you don't need fancy camo, even though I love my mossy oak, but you can go to Walmart and get you some $10, $15, $20 this, and that the deer aren't going to care about that. The most important thing is your their smell. So scent, you can put as much scent free this on you, but that's not going to beat a deer's nose. It's wind. So learning the wind can be complicated, but kind of understanding the wind direction and where your deer are going to be coming from. That's a biggest key to success starting out, because you could be out there in the right spot but hunting at the wrong time, the wrong wind. So paying attention to that, but learning to have fun. You're gonna learn to have fun, but learning to fail. You're always gonna fail hunting. Doesn't matter if you are a year into hunting or 30 plus years in, you're gonna fail. I've been in a drought of I'm on a journey and wanting to kill a mature buck. And that's not for everyone to start out with. You want to start small. It's okay to shoot the first thing you see as long as it's legal. So
Right.
set the bar low for yourself. I think my first buck was a spike or a button pluck. I'll still shoot a spike or a button buck. Sometimes it's accidentally, but they still gonna eat.
Right.
So set that bar low for yourself, and don't be afraid to ask questions and reach out. I guess I'm rambling a lot, but have
You're
fun.
good.
You're gonna make mistakes. Dust yourself off, and try again and learn from them, because that's the only way you're gonna find success is learn from those mistakes.
Right. That's exactly right, man. I can't tell you every day, man. I get, different questions from different people that, hey man, we know what's the best camo, what's the best gun, what's the best bow, and I'm like, dude, what's good for me might not necessarily be good for you.
Yeah.
Just like in archery, man, when you buy a bow, my bow, some people might not be able to shoot because it's not set for them. Their draw length is not as long as
Yeah.
mine. The peep sight's going to be off for you. The way I hold a bow, I use a back bar and a front bar. That balance weight is going to be off for you. It's especially in archery, those bows have to be specifically tuned for the user.
Yep.
And I just
Yep.
tell people, man, like, buy what you can afford. When I started off, I was borrowing my dad's camouflage. I was, borrowing my dad's boots, borrowing my dad's shotguns. I had a Mossberg 500 of my dad's, and I
That's all
burned
you
that thing
need.
up. Yeah, I burned that thing up, man. And then my first deer rifle was a SKS that my dad had because my dad didn't deer hunt.
No way.
He just
We
happened to have
we have one too.
Really? That's
We have
awesome.
one too. Yeah, my dad's killed him, but I missed I would have been my first deer. I missed my first deer with an SKS. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. I had
That's
a
cool.
dad bought a SKS from a guy at work for super cheap. And it had steel shot,
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything about deer hunting. I was out there, and the first deer I killed with, a gun was a little spike buck. Came out at like 40 yards. I smoked him, and I
Yeah.
was happy as I could be, man. And I went back to school telling people, you're like, hey, man, I killed a good buck. And they're like, what do you mean a good buck? And I showed them, pictures on my little, flip phone I had at the time. They like, man, that's a little spike. And I'm like, so, that's my first deer I killed with a gun. Like,
Yeah.
who cares? And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing too, man. Like in the outdoor industry now, man, like I understand people wanting to kill mature deer and post the pictures. But when these people are posting pictures of the deer they killed, whether it's a doe, whether it's a spike, like a small 6, small 8, if you read in those comments, man, it's basically they're dragging these people. Like, why'd you kill that buck? I remember my first deer. Like, it's just so much like negativity, and my thing to me, what I love about hunting, what I love about the outdoors, it's not the harvest itself. It's everything leading up to the harvest. Sitting there in the blind, let's start with the preparation. The preparation, putting your cameras out if it's, if you can do that. Getting your food plots out if you can do that in your state. Getting the blind set up, getting everything ready to go, sitting in that blind waiting on that deer to come out, the hours spent sitting there, and then when that buck or that doe finally comes out and everything just aligns with the stars, man, that's the part that I like, when that whole everything leading up to the harvest. The harvest is great, don't get me wrong, because when you do kill that buck or that doe, it's that I get buck fever real bad. And my best friend all the time tells me, like, dude, you're going to have a heart attack one day. I said, but it's just that excitement. I still get excited, and I tell people once I get to the point where I start harvesting these animals and that excitement doesn't hit me, that's when I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I enjoy it, but
I think it's important. Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially if you're a new hunter, is there's a lot of noise in the hunting community where you have to shoot this, it has to be mature. You have to start at a level, and then people have expectations. So those expectations is to shoot what makes you happy. If it's a spike, if it's a forky, 4-pointer, 8-pointer, it does not matter. And then you just build from there. If you're happy with that, that's fine. And you just build from there. If you want to next time you shoot a 3-year-old buck, and then stair set from there. But it's okay to never have to go after these mature deer. It's just for me specifically. I've not to say I've done it all, but I've shot the spikes. I've shot those. I've shot the 3-year-olds. Those were hard for me, but now I want to challenge myself and play a chess match with a mature deer. Those don't come often, and the challenge, not just shooting a mature deer, but the challenge of figuring him out before he figures me out is what I love about what I'm doing on my journey. Everyone has a journey. That's what I'd like to tell new hunters. You have a journey. Don't put yourself in the bracket of I'm going to be shooting, an 8-pointer or a 10-pointer or 150-inch deer. Shoot what makes you happy, and then step up from there and get better.
Right. Yeah, I've got a story I'm gonna tell here. I'm not gonna name drop or anything like that, but this happened
That's
about
okay.
yeah. This happened about 5 years ago, man, and so I'd been hunting, out my farm, hadn't seen anything all morning. Well, my buddy gives me a call from the next county over from us in Greene County. He said, "Hey, man, I just dropped one. Can you help me track it?" I said, "Yeah, I'm on the way." So I go help him track it, and we end up finding it or whatever. And while we're out there tracking this, while we're out there getting this deer loaded up on the truck, his uncle called and was like, "Hey, I just shot one. Can you and Courtney come over and help?" And they call me Seawheel here around here because Courtney Williamson Seawheel. That's like my nickname around here. Like, can you and Seawheel come help me? I said, "Yeah, we're on the way." So get them all squared away, and I'm heading home. And so I had to stop by the gas station because I'm about out of gas, and I don't like to get gas that morning of the hunt because all that scent gets on your clothes and everything like that. I don't want to be smelling like gas walking in the woods. So so I get down there to the gas station. This old man has this huge doe. I mean, it's probably one of the biggest does I've ever seen on the back of his truck. And there's these teenagers that are around him, like laughing at him and, just making fun of him. Like, why'd you shoot this doe with all the bucks that are around? I'm a trophy hunter. I'll shoot this. And I killed a 180-inch deer last year and stuff like that. They're just ragging this old man. Now, this old man's probably in his 70s, still getting around good, got this old beat up Ford truck, and everything like that. Well, the kids leave and I go in and pay for my gas and everything. I walk outside and I just struck up a conversation with this man. And I said, "Man, I love the deer. This is what it's about. Whatever makes you happy, harvest it." He said, "Man, to be honest with you," he said, "I hadn't been hunting in almost 20 years. He said, I just lost my wife and everything." And he said, "I'm on a fixed income." So he said, "This deer is going to feed me through the winter, and get me to where I need to be and everything like that." And when you hear a story like that, it just gives you a whole new perspective on things. Like, this man was out there hunting simply because his wife had passed. He's on a fixed income. He's out there hunting for food. He's out there hunting to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got these teenage kids making fun of him, with these big high priced trucks that they're driving or their dads and stuff like that. And this old man's got this old beat up truck and, this doe, and he's got, a flannel shirt on, no camo, blue jeans on and stuff like that. It just kind of gives you a whole new perspective. And then after that day, man, I was just like, whatever makes somebody happy, I'm going to be happy for them. I'm not going to ever, make fun of anybody for killing, a small doe or, a big doe for that matter, or a spike or anything. You never know what that person has got going on in their life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that was a big thing for me, man. It almost brought tears in my eyes when I heard, I sat there and talked to him for almost an hour, and we still talk to this day. He's still doing good. He's a little older now, and every now and then, he'll call me. He said, "I can't get out there this year because of my health." He said, "Can you kill me a doe?" "I got you, sir." Get out there and get him one. And he used to do everything himself, but I'll skin it for him and cord it up for him and grind it up, and that'll get him through the winter. And anytime anybody, if they ever get in a bind, all they got to do is call me. I'll do what I can for them. So.
Love that. I do the same.
Yeah, man, for sure. But sticking on the same subject, man, like what type of valuable like lessons has the outdoors taught you? I know for me personally, well, you got kids, I got kids, I was the most impatient person in the world.
Yeah.
And
I hear that.
Once I had my son, like I learned patience, a lot of it. Because me, like back when I first started hunting, man, I'd get out there, and if I didn't see nothing in the first couple hours, I was out.
Yeah.
But now, watching my son grow up, he'll be 7 on Sunday, and
Awesome.
just watching him grow up and the patience that you have to learn, that's helped me a lot in the outdoors. So what lessons has the outdoors taught you?
Phew, that's a should be a tough one, but kind of tagging on to what you said. Like now that I have, I was always obsessed with hunting and fishing, and my dad kind of just, passed on the baton to me and my brothers, and we took it and ran with it. And I kind of realized it's my time to do that with my kids. My kids have, I never want to pressure them to get anything, whether it's sports or whatever they're into. Is just want to support them. So with hunting and fishing, I did do it with them and show them, fishing and hunting, but they've taken off with it. And when I'm out there fishing and I'm, I want to catch my own trout, I want to catch bass, and then I gotta slow down and think, I've done all this. It's not for me anymore. It's for others. It's for my kids to learn how to do things the right way, or to learn how to skin a fish or skin a deer. It's now I'm going to be passing the baton on to others, whether it's a new hunter, it's invest in people, invest in your kids, because we want to continue this tradition of hunting and fishing. So that's my biggest takeaway from the outdoors is pass it on because someone else invested in you. I feel like it's your duty to also invest in others and invest in family, and getting them into the outdoors.
Right. That's an awesome. Yeah, that's a great answer. That's me, man. Somebody, my father and my uncle, they took the time out to invest in me when I started showing interest in the outdoors. So I want to do my due diligence, with this brand and everything to do the same for somebody else. If I can just reach that one person, and I've done my job. And right now it's my son. He loves the outdoors. He loves going to shoot his bow. I've got to get him another one because he ended up dry firing it here about a week back.
Whoa.
And yeah. And wanted to deny it, and I came in.
I don't know what happened, Dad.
Right. I came in here and we keep our bows right here. I've got like a little rack, and his was off the rack. And it was laying on the ground. The string was off of it. And I was like, "Bub, what'd you do?" And he's like, "I didn't do nothing." He's like, "You remember when you told me not to shoot one without an arrow in it?" I said, "You shot it without an arrow in it, didn't you?" He said, "Well, no." I said, "Yes, you did. That's the only thing." And then when I got to looking at it, the cam had bent one way. The strings off of it. The bottom cam is bent the other way. So I contacted the company, and I bought the bow from somebody. And since that bow was not, registered to me, there's nothing that I could do about it. So I'm probably going to end up getting him one of those primes because, I'm shooting a Nexus 4 and I absolutely love it. And those youth bows, I watched your video with your sons when you were getting them set up. I'm probably going to go that route. But just handing that tradition down, from generation to generation, or just finding somebody to leave that information to, because we're not always going to be here.
Yeah.
We're gonna pass on, and whatever we leave to our sons and our daughters, that's gonna, entail whether this sport's gonna die or not.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, man, sports this sport is getting attacked a lot, in the media, as well as Christianity right now.
Yeah.
Those are the two biggest things that I see that are getting attacked right now. And you ain't gonna mess with my Jesus, and you ain't gonna mess with my hunting. That's two things that
I hear
you ain't gonna mess with.
Yeah, I hear
So I'm gonna do my due diligence to keep this sport alive, and I'm gonna do my due diligence to make sure the name of Jesus is always around me, and I'm gonna, preach that as long as I can.
Amen.
Says in the Bible to make disciples, man. So I'm out here doing my thing and trying to do it every day. It's a hard life to live, but we got to do it.
Sure.
So yeah, man. So is your big thing deer hunting, or do you just hunt whatever's in season? What's your thing?
I want to experience everything in the hunting world I can. So it's just kind of like what's at my disposal. Deer hunting is big for me. Bow hunting in general, but I'll put down the bow and use black powder. Just got my first black powder gun last year from a buddy, and then I'll hunt with guns. I bring my college buddies all from all over. A guy from England that's actually lives here and is married to a soccer teammate from the college we went to, and guys from Texas, all over, come to hunt with me. So I'll gun hunt, but I also am into squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting. My barber got me into rabbit hunting. He has his beagles, and I look forward to going every year once deer season ends. I'll go with him in December. And then January, February, I'm hunting it as he goes every Monday because obviously the barber shop's closed. So that
Right.
Duck hunting is actually very interesting. I've kind of dabbled, what I do is with outdoors and colors. I want to encourage people to get outdoors. I want to promote diversity in outdoors, and also seeing other people like me that look like me doing the same thing that are also very successful. And that's been watching the 24/7 hunt guys. They make it look so fun. Obviously, it's about the hunt. It's about camaraderie and the tradition. So I tried my hand at duck hunting. We've got some game lands, and I don't have any equipment, so I was walking in on public based on tips from friends and sky blasting, having a hell of a time walking in at 3, 4 a.m. Don't know where I'm going, but I had fun. So next year it's gonna be on. I'm gonna get me my first duck. I've shot a couple ducks by shooting them off of ponds and what do you call them? Jump shooting. We're scaring them
Jump
off, and
shooting
then
them, yeah.
jump shooting. But I've never officially done it with decoys. And a good buddy of mine, Chris, thank you, gave me his decoy set. So I'm getting serious next year. I'm going to get me some ducks. So again, everything hunting, fishing, again hunting deer, dove, squirrel, rabbit, bear. I'm hooked on bear hunting. So that's going to be something I'll probably try to do every year. And then fishing, everything from trout fishing is probably my favorite. Bass fishing, catfish, crappie, and then I've kind of dabbled into surf fishing and not really. I haven't done deep sea fishing, but just trying to be an all around outdoorsman and picking up tools and learning as much as I can and being efficient as possible in every way of hunting and fishing. That's me in a
Awesome.
nutshell.
That's awesome. Yeah, my last podcast, I don't know if you've seen it or heard it, but it was with Daryl Moore.
Yeah,
Of
I hadn't got a
7
chance to listen to that yet.
Yeah, so I've been on the dove hunt that they have down in Georgia twice.
Man, I want to go so bad.
I was gonna go this year, but I couldn't make it happen with this year with work and everything. But they were a big inspiration to me simply because, like you said, there was not a lot of black folks that I seen that hunted, and I just happened to be on YouTube one day and I seen these guys and the music and everything that they were playing and how they were, duck hunters, and I'm like, well, I don't know about this duck hunting thing, but first time I went 3 years ago, man, I got bit by the bug, and ever since, man, the past 2 years I've been trying to grind it out and do a little bit here and there. I got decoys, I got a gun, I got some sickos you can see back there.
Yeah.
My waders are on the floor. I got big into it. Still don't know how to blow a duck call very well, but I'm still learning. I keep one on the truck. But I'm with you, man. I try to be a well-rounded outdoorsman. So if somebody asks me, hey, have you done, do you hunt this? I can tell them, yeah, I do that. Deep sea fishing, you'll never get me out there.
I'm about the same way. I'm like, that's too far. I've gone intercoastal and probably like 10 miles out, but I haven't gone like way out there. That's so scary.
I can't swim for one.
Yeah.
And for two, big bodies of water like the ocean, you can ask my wife. Like, I freak out if I can't see land.
Yeah.
And the ocean, man.
Water's dangerous, and what's in there is even more dangerous.
Right, especially in the ocean, man. Got whales and sharks and everything else.
Yeah.
And then the farther you go down south, man, even these small bodies of water, they got gators and cottonmouths and everything. I mean, we got cottonmouths around here. We ain't got no gators. That's one thing I don't have to worry about getting in the water here. But but my buddies are talking about going, early wood duck hunting here in a few weeks and talking about, getting in the water. I said, bro, do you realize cottonmouths are still out this time of year?
Yeah.
I said, I ain't getting in there. I'm going to be on land, where I can see them things, man.
Yeah.
My dad always said, man, because he was a big fisherman, but he was a bank fisherman. He was a cat fisherman. And I said, Dad, how come you don't, get out there and go on the boats and stuff with your buddies and stuff? He said, you remember what happened the last time black people got on a boat?
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Don't trust those boats.
I was like, Dad, something's wrong with you. Nah. He said, man, his dad could swim and everything, but he just wasn't a fan of boats. And I just don't like big bodies of water. Like my wife loves Destin. I love it too. But like when I get up in the morning, man, I'm out looking at the water, make sure the water's good. It's like, ain't no hurricanes coming today, are there?
Yeah.
I get freaked out, man. So, but bucket list, man. I want to definitely go on a gator hunt at least one time. I definitely want to go bear hunting. And the biggest thing that's on my list right now is hog hunting. Have you ever been hog hunting?
No, I got to knock that off. I want to. I think they're Eastern North Carolina, and then definitely South Carolina and Georgia. So I haven't been able to get into that yet.
Yeah, I got a buddy that lives in Kennesaw, Georgia, and we're trying to plan a hunt for next year sometime. But just hopefully it works out. But I've been trying to get on a hog hunt for past 3 years now. Just me and my buddies can't get on the same page where we can get down and go somewhere. And I've even looked at those Texas hunts where you get up in the helicopter and shoot.
Oh, man, that's sweet.
They're like 10, 15 grand a person.
Oh, we ain't doing that.
And I was like, well, the way my bank account's set up, I got to check in a savings.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, I want to definitely get out, especially down your way, man. I heard there's some good hunting down there.
Come on, man. We'll go anywhere. We'll go rabbit hunting, deer hunting, whatever you want to do. Come on up.
Yeah, I'm definitely
come on over.
Try to get down there, man. So heck yeah. But what was I about to say? Here we go. Hypothetical question. Ready for this?
I guess so.
All right,
find out.
So you've got an at-risk youth teenage male.
Okay.
He's from a pretty bad city. Let's say he's from Baltimore, Memphis, Chicago, somewhere. He's getting into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
He finds your page on YouTube. But he's from a big city, single family household. Everything's around him is, gang related. He's got the gangs after him real bad, but he's seeing your content on your YouTube page. He's wanting to get into the outdoors, but everything around him, he's a product of his environment, just like we are. But he's wanting to get out of that environment and try something new. What advice would you give him?
Other than reaching out, I love to help in those scenarios. Is if depending on where you are, you can go to your local Walmart and, I've done some fishing challenges for $10, $15 at Walmart. And what a lot of people don't know is your city parks have all these creeks and rivers, and start there. All you need is you can even get a cane pole, but you can get a cheap combo at Walmart. You can get you some size 4 to 6 bait holder hooks, night crawlers, bobber, split shot, and you can wear out some fish. I did a lot of that in a city I grew up in, but it was a little more rural. But we had a park with a creek, and I would fish and catch crawdads. Is try to find something in your area that you can fish, but definitely reach out to obviously myself. I'd love to help you out there and get into the outdoors. But definitely start small. If you're in the inner city, there's opportunities for you. You just gotta not be afraid to fish in right beside a park because there's fish in there. I mean, you'll catch them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of ran into a similar situation about a month ago. I had a guy reach out to me with a guy that or a kid that he was mentoring, and he didn't really know how to talk to him about that because that's not the world that he come from.
Yeah.
I come from the outdoors, so I gave him some pretty good advice. Basically the same thing you did, find somebody, find an OG that you could talk to, or like you said, man, just, try to find somebody that's already got the gear and just show you the ropes. And if you don't have that, social media is big right now, and you can always reach out to somebody and try to get those tips and everything that you need to, start something new. Because I feel like, man, like a lot of these inner city kids, man, it's a goal of mine. Is basically take some of these inner city kids, at risk youth that maybe got a strike on them already or whatever, to bust them in to Kentucky here and find a big piece of land to teach them like hunting, fishing, boating safety, how to shoot a bow, how to start a fire, stuff like that, survival tips and stuff like that. Just something that would keep their minds off of that city life, man. And I'm not saying everybody in the city's like that, man, but there's a lot of us, especially in the Black community, man, that come from single parent households. Their mom goes to work. When they go to work, they're out running the streets.
Yeah.
And I just feel like there could be something more productive, especially in this outdoor industry, man, because there's a niche for somebody. I mean, you got fishing, you got hunting, you got archery, you got hiking. There's you got camping. There's a lot of. I mean, you got bird watching. There's so many things that you could do in the outdoors that would keep your mind and keep you off of the streets if they could get into that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, that's definitely a big thing of mine in the future is to try to get some of those and maybe start with the Kentucky Fish and Wildlife here to get like a big spot and to show people how to do all that stuff. So that's a big thing of mine. So,
That's
but yeah,
awesome.
man, as an African American male or person of color in this industry, man, I know starting out for you it wasn't easy probably because I'm telling you, I get messages every day from people, talking about how I'm never gonna make it because this is a white boy sport and this and that, man. But have you received any flack over your brand or what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think the outdoors in color is a double entendre. It's I want to showcase God's creation, but also want to encourage and promote diversity in the outdoors. I think when you think about the Black community, Black and Brown people, specifically in America, hunting was a tradition of the Black community.
Absolutely.
Before Jim Crow and all that, we had a lot of country Black folk, and they were, the heart of the South. That they were hunting and fishing, doing exactly what white people were doing. And then you had Jim Crow coming along, and a lot of that tradition. They pushed up north, and now they're in the city. Your overpopulated Chicago, your Detroit's, your northern cities are a higher concentration of Black people because they had to leave. They were, threat of violence, killing, getting, lynched. Hunting was a way of life for us. And I believe since we've, dispersed and gone out to up the north in cities, we've lost that. So, you'll obviously a lot of white people say, you hunt. Black people don't do that.
Right.
No, we do. We've always done it.
We've
It's just
always
that
done.
we've lost the tradition because, this is just a side story. When I was bear hunting, I got my bear. I had to run to I think it was a Family Dollar, and I had the bear in the tarp. And I saw this guy in camouflage, and he saw me fiddling on the truck. So, a elderly black guy, and he was probably in his, I think he's in his 60s, and he knew what I was, into. And he's like, "What you got, man?" It's like, "I got a bear." And we sat and talked for about 5 minutes, and he told me he was still in a hunting all black hunting club that used to be about 200 members back in the 70s and 80s, and now it's down to like 15 or 20 because a lot of the older guys, the OGs have died, and no one's really kept that going or passed the torch because not everyone stays in hunting, or not that just people have dispersed, but you get a job in a city or you move in another state. People aren't going fishing and hunting anymore. Maybe it's just not tangible for them. It's not something that's close to them to do. So I think it's important to know that we've, like you're in your name, we do this too. We've always done it. So I think it's just important to me to be an outlet or a point of contact. I'm not an expert, but I've done it all my life. It is a passion of mine. I love sharing it with anyone that wants to get involved. So whether it's black and brown people, white people, I have all walks of life asking me questions, wanting to get hunting. I'm always trying to introduce 1 or 2 hunters a year and bring them into the fold of hunting and fishing. So starting Outdoors in Color really was just to encourage people to get outside more and hunt and fish, and understanding it's not about killing animals. It's the process. It's the process of, how do we get to the woods? How we set stands up? If you bait your deer, how do you feed the deer? Or how do you know what natural foods deer eat? How, if you can't bait in your state, how do you know what deer like to browse on? When you shoot the deer, that's when the work begins. How do you process it? How do you gut the animal? How do you make sure you're taking care of it to where it's, not spoiling? All of that is so important. It's a lot of knowledge that you have to know. And if no one's willing to share that with you, whether you're white, black, brown, yellow, if no one's going to share that with you, you're not going to want to be interested. And that's what I want to do. And that is my passion, teaching others. That kind of is me in a nutshell, and me rambling. But I am no stranger. I will walk into a room and connect with anyone. And I want to share my passion with everyone.
Right. That's me, man. I'm a chameleon. I can blend wherever I'm at.
Yep.
I mean, I can find common ground with anybody, whether it's something in the outdoors, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whether it's, shoes, boots, whatever.
Yeah.
It drives my wife crazy sometimes because, like, I'll, find somebody like on vacation or something, and I'll sit there and talk to them about something. It just, I've got one of those personalities, man. I feel like people, like they want to open up to me and talk about stuff, and I'm always down for it. If you want to talk about frogs for 2 hours, I'll talk to you about frogs. If you want to talk about hunting, whatever, man. Just, you never know. Like I said earlier, you never know what a person's going through. So sometimes they just want somebody to listen. So, but yeah, that's a fantastic answer, man. But yeah, I know when I first started my brand, man, I had a lot of people reach out to me and was just like, man, here you go doing that white boy stuff again. I'm just like, hold on, like, go do your research. Like, we've been doing this since the beginning of time.
Yep.
That's how we survived back in the day, But yeah, man. So I've got a couple more questions, man. I'll let you get out of here. So if you could go anywhere and hunt for anything, where are you going or what you hunting for?
If I can go anywhere, hunt for anything, it would have to be Alaska or Canada. Canada has about the same type of animal, so it would probably be a moose, because I'm getting to go elk hunting in October this year.
Sweet.
We're going elk hunting.
Congratulations.
It's been a long time coming. I'll be gun hunting, which I'm okay with. I'd rather be shooting with a bow, but the timing of it, hey, I'm bringing back something legal.
Yeah.
I'm bringing some meat home, baby. That's what it's about. I want to taste some elk. I've tasted it before, but man, that's what I'm excited about. So if I was to choose an area, it'd definitely be Alaska. I probably want to go after a moose because that's just an enormous animal and a lot of meat.
Yeah. Okay. Heck yeah, man. I think I'd want to go. I think I've said this before, but Big Sky, Montana, and I want to go elk hunting.
Oh yeah.
I think that's on just about any archer's list or hunter period. They want to have an elk under their belt, and it's super hard to get drawn here in Kentucky. So hopefully I'll get drawn. I'll put in every year for it, but it's hard, man. So yeah, man. I really appreciate you coming on, man, taking the time out. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to ask you any questions or have any questions about anything that we talked about?
So we're on YouTube. We post a lot of shorts and about a long form content video maybe once every 2 weeks. So 2 videos a month, shorts every day on our adventures. So you can find us there, The Outdoors in Color. But if you want to contact me directly, hop in the DMs, message me on Facebook or Instagram, The Outdoors in Color. I think it's _ The Outdoors in Color _ on Instagram, and then TikTok, the same, The Outdoors in Color. But I'm willing to help anyone with any questions and share any knowledge I have, because that is what I'm all about is continuing this tradition and making sure we're inclusive to everyone who wants to get involved.
That's what's up, man. Well, like I said earlier, man, I appreciate you coming on today and everything. And this podcast will be live on all streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcast. It'll be on my YouTube page. So do me a favor, man, and everybody out there, give me a like, give me a subscribe, leave me a review on Apple and Spotify and everything like that. And
Yep.
I'll keep the content coming, man. And this podcast is sponsored by Vision Clothing. It's a Black-owned apparel company in Louisville, Kentucky, ran by my buddy Leroy Whipple. He's doing big things for the Black community up there. I recently just got on the field team at Moultrie. So if you guys are looking for any trail cameras, deer feeders, or anything like that, check out MoultrieMobile.com. Blackburn Apparel Company reached out. They are an awesome company. You got to look at some of their hats and some of the stuff that they have, their t-shirts, and their gear. They're super dope. Threads Bowstrings. If you're looking for bowstrings, they're a Kentucky-based company. So if you're looking for a new bowstring, check out threads.com. Like I said, they're a Kentucky-based company. Great people to work with. And G5 Broadheads. I'm going to be shooting the Montex this year, G5 Montex.
Nice.
And, I think Prime owns them, correct? Or G5 owns Prime, one of the two.
Yeah.
But anyway, when you get on G5, Prime will pop up. So check out their broadheads and all their gear and stuff like that, man. But that's just some of the people that I'm working with right now. So if y'all want any more information, just reach out to me, man. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on, man. And God bless you in all your endeavors. And if you ever need me for anything, man, my line's always open.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having me on. See, Will.
Yes, sir, man. So another episode in the books, ladies and gentlemen. We do this too. Holla.